15 strange wedding customs and rituals as spitting on the bride is the most confusing thing. Today is your wedding day. You and your fiancé are walking down the aisle together, but suddenly all the guests spit in your face. They even want to pull out your couple's teeth and break all the bowls. Plate at the wedding party. These things sound crazy, but it will really happen to you if you hold your wedding in the land we are about to talk about. Without leaving you confused for another moment, let's find out together the strangest wedding customs and rituals that exist in the world. Number 15. The fatter, the better. We will go to an African country called Mauritania. If in many parts of the world, women with a slim figure are the standard of beauty, then in Mauritania, women with large body measurements are considered beautiful and can easily get married. While in many countries a fat body is considered an obsession, Mauritanian girls try to eat a lot to have a fat body because they want to have a good husband. Men here believe that fat women are beautiful. They like girls with plump breasts, fat bellies, big thighs, and big faces. This concept probably originates from the difficult life that people here experienced in the past. This country has experienced many incidents of food shortages in history, so obesity has become a symbol of beauty. A fat, large body represents wealth and prosperity. Because of this concept, young women with skinny bodies find it difficult to even get married. To find a suitable husband, Mauritanian women have to go through the process of trying to be fat from an early age. This is also a unique custom in the world. Fattening camp is a place where girls gather. Here, the girls have to consume a huge amount of food every day. A typical day's food intake includes 12 of millet mixed with butter and a dozen liters of goat's milk. Thus, it can be said that on average, every day girls are stuffed with about 16,000 calories, while the number they should absorb is only about 2,000 calories. At the fattening camp, there are always women called fatteners who take care of everything, ensuring the amount of food the girls eat every day. If they lose their appetite or vomit, they even have to endure the painful punishment of clamping their silver finger on a stick called zaya. And during the camp, the women don't have to do anything except eat and sleep. Returning from camp, a 12-year-old girl can weigh up to 80 kg. The practice of fattening is called leblo, which is a long-standing tradition of the Mauritanians. In the past, if women married into a rich family, they only had to eat, drink, and rest, and did not have to do housework. Therefore, they become fat. Since then, Mauritanians believe that the fuller a girl's size is, the more wealth and nobility she shows. At the same time, the fat around the women's waist also becomes a symbol of charm and pride. Nowadays, it seems that this custom is being affected. Statistics in 2016 show that the number of young women in Mauritania being sent to force-feeding camps has decreased significantly to only 11%. Instead, they aim for natural weight gain methods. Many people are aware of the dangers of obesity, which can easily lead to cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Number 14. I'm forbidden to go to the toilet. I could feel the extreme contractions of my colon and bladder as I learned about this ritual. I know you will find it as hard to believe as I do, but I promise that they really exist. It was a wedding where both the groom and the bride had to refrain from going to the bathroom for 3 consecutive days. Come on, we're on the island of Borneo, Malaysia, and are attending the wedding ceremony of an ethnic group called Tidong. During the wedding ceremony, the Tidong community still retains many cultural features and beautiful traditional costumes. However, something strange happened only after that. Specifically, since the wedding ceremony, the Tidong people prohibit the newly married bride and groom from defecating or urinating for 3 days and nights, and they are also not allowed to leave the house during this time. The above strange custom is still unknown to many people outside the Tidong ethnic group. Until Malaysia's Ministry of Culture, Arts and Heritage announced this unbelievable fact in a program in 2006. The program introduced cultural dances and marriage ceremonies of the Soluk and Tidong ethnic groups, Songhai and Cagayan in this country. Explaining the meaning and concepts related to this custom, Mr. Marukin Dollar, 72 years old, head of the Tidong community in Songhai Tiram, Malaysia, said that the Tidong people believe that those who violate this custom can be punished, causing broken marriages, infertility, or premature children. In order for couples to overcome the challenge, someone will be assigned to monitor and only feed them a minimum amount of food and water. After 3 days, the bride and groom can bathe. At this point, both will often be exhausted and need to resolve the matter immediately. It's impossible to say for sure whether this brought much happiness to the couple, but those 3 days must have been an unpleasant experience and could have been greatly harmful to their health. Number 13. Love Hut. Let's go to Cambodia, a Southeast Asian country, to explore the unique wedding customs of the tribe called Kriang. While in most parts of Cambodia, women are traditionally discouraged from smoking or drinking alcohol, Kriang women do all these things just like men. The Kriang people live simple lives, including basic survival activities such as eating, sheltering, love, and sex. When it comes to women's sexual rights, Kriang has a tradition that many cultures will not accept: the love hut. When a girl reaches puberty, parents in this tribe will build her a love hut and encourage her to invite her boyfriend to stay overnight until she finds a husband. What happens when a teenage girl lives alone in a hut, allowed to invite as many boys to spend the night as she wants? Many say this is the perfect setting for a broken heart or an unwanted pregnancy, but the Kriang tribe in northeast Cambodia believes that this is the best way for women to find true love. While Western women are faced with conflicting ideas about traditional values and appropriate sexual behavior, Kriang women are taught that sex is a natural and beautiful part of love. The Kriang people are instilled with the idea that premarital sex is acceptable and encouraged. Young women have the right to try to find the right person to marry. In particular, women are proactive in Kriang. They invite the guy they like into the hut to have sex or simply to talk. In Kriang, divorce is a phrase that does not appear often. In a Kriang village of 150 couples, only 1 or 2 couples break up. Even the word flirty is not used. A woman can have multiple boyfriends at the same time, and there is no argument if she ends up choosing someone else. Luckily for the women here, sexual violence is very rare and rape does not exist. Kriang boys do not have an aggressive attitude, and they are taught that the attitude of respect or disrespect towards women will affect the farming work of the whole family, and strongly believe this. Currently, Kriang people have been instructed to use condoms to prevent pregnancy. Previously, this tribe made their own birth control pills, including wood, wine, and a centipede. Thanks to the propaganda of local non-governmental organizations, condoms are gradually becoming more popular. However, unwanted pregnancies still occur in Kriang. The strange thing is that no matter who a woman gets pregnant with, the man she eventually chooses will still raise the child as his own. Pull the chicken's head. This wedding tradition is performed in the Kham ethnic minority village in Chenchuan, Guizhou Province, China. Based on a tradition dating back about 500 years that was revived and revised in the 1990s for villagers and tourists, the event, known locally as the Empty Tower Chicken Heist, involves young men competing for the right to be the first to tear apart the birds brought to the center by their brides. Village. According to village chief Huang Shuxianin, it originated in the past when a bride was forced to marry someone from her family. If she wanted to marry outside the family, the suitor and her cousin would compete to be the first to bite off the head of a chicken or duck to win the bride. Of course, the atmosphere of the villagers during the wedding ceremony was extremely exciting, but for the tourists, it was quite scary. Raw meat and poultry feathers were everywhere, stuck on the bride and groom's clothes and faces. Images of this ritual received a lot of negative comments from animal protection activists. However, the regional government decided not to abandon this ritual because it brings in large amounts of tourism revenue to the village. Number 11. Dirty wedding. What if on your wedding day, right at your most beautiful moment, your friends and relatives suddenly pour dirty, slimy things all over your body? Surely it was a stupid prank that ruined the whole wedding. But in Scotland, the couple who were smeared felt lucky that their relatives did this. In Scotland, the bride and groom will be blackened or smeared from head to toe with everything from eggs, sauces to leftovers. Family members, relatives, and close friends will perform this ceremony for the couple because they believe that this ritual will help ward off bad luck that is clinging to the soon-to-be-wed couple. The custom of blacking at weddings was born in the 19th century, stemming from the foot-washing ceremony for women about to get married. Before having her feet washed, the woman's feet were blackened with soot taken from the chimney. In the early 20th century, this ceremony became an outdoor fun activity, especially for couples getting married in the summer. From here, the custom of blackening people was expanded to include many other activities such as stake driving and street parade. Over time, the custom has been transformed to favor the meaning of smearing the couple instead of cleansing as originally. The custom of blackening is meant to warn couples about upcoming challenges and difficulties in married life. Literally, the wedding couple will be smeared with all kinds of garbage from chicken and duck feathers, dead fish, eggs, rotten food, curd, tar, mud, or flour. After that, people would parade the tainted bride and groom around the neighborhood or tie them to a tree for several hours. The goal is to make the newlyweds feel as uncomfortable as possible and for as many people as possible to witness the event. The people of Scotland believe that after overcoming this difficulty together, the couple can share the same suffering in marriage. There are no specific regulations. The custom of smearing may only apply to the bride, but sometimes the groom also. Number 10. Spitting on the bride. We continue to Africa, a land with countless strange customs. Here, spitting on the bride's face and chest on the wedding day is a very normal thing. I'm talking about the weddings of the Maasai people, a semi-nomadic Nilotic ethnic group living in Kenya and northern Tanzania. Every Maasai wedding is held as a festival. All people in the village are invited by the bride and groom to attend the wedding without any distinction. On the wedding day, the bride will become the most beautiful and outstanding woman when wearing colorful outfits and the most elaborate jewelry. As soon as the groom's family arrived at the bride's village, the elders of both villages blessed the newlywed couple. Before leaving their village, the elders place a fresh herb in front of the bride's chest, symbolizing green pastures and a happy marriage. Young brides, aged only about 13 to 16 years old, will have to walk a long way to their new home. According to Maasai customs, the bride's father will spit on his daughter's head and chest as a blessing. The rest of the men in the family will do the same. There is no girl from the Maasai tribe who, when getting married, does not perform this unique blessing ritual. The father's saliva will symbolize all the best things that the bride's parents want to give to their children. The girl will also be happier when she receives these special blessings, and only after conducting this strange ritual is the girl allowed to leave for her husband's house. The special thing is that the bride's family often travels at a very slow pace, so the process of taking the bride from her parents' house to her husband's house can take many hours. In addition, the Maasai people believe that, when following a newlywed husband, a woman must never look back at her parents' house. Otherwise, she will turn to stone. To get rid of all the bad luck sometimes, the women the husband's family will humiliate and insult the bride who has just arrived so that she can enjoy her happiness to the fullest. Number 9. Crying continuously for 3 months. I don't know if there is anything or any way to make us cry every day for 3 months, but Tujia women in China have been through it for thousands of years. Maybe from their culture, tradition, and social environment, they have faced challenges that we cannot fully understand. Zuotang is a traditional wedding ceremony of the Tujia people. China, whether she likes it or not, the bride is forced to cry before the wedding day. The cry represents goodbye to parents, relatives, and blessings for one's own married life. The Zuotang ritual is said to have originated during the Warring States period, before the Princess of Triyu was forced to marry her to Yen. Her mother knelt at her feet, cried, and prayed for her to return soon. The Zuotang custom began from there and is maintained by the Tujia people to this day. According to custom, the bride must cry for 1 to 3 months, or at least a week before her wedding. The louder and more the bride cries, the more it proves that she is a filial, virtuous and wise daughter. On the contrary, if the bride does not cry or cries little, the neighbors will laugh, scold her, and even be beaten by her parents. Tujia people believe that the more sorrowful the cry, the happier the bride's married life. Tujia's bride did not cry as usual, but cried to the tune. They not only cried alone, but were also joined by their mothers, grandmothers, aunts, and other women in the village. Each person who came to say goodbye gave the bride a gift, and they cried together. So if the visitor does not cry, it is considered impolite, and the bride feels disrespected. In some localities, such as Hunan province, the bride's mother-in-law stands behind the house to listen to these melodies. Zuotang is also performed in various rituals. The Tujia people in Sichuan province have the custom of crying in the wedding hall. The bride must cry every day for 1 hour in a large room before the wedding is held. After about 10 days, the bride's mother will cry with her, and the next 10 days will be her grandmother. On the last day before the wedding, the bride's family invited 9 more unmarried women in the village to cry with them as encouragement and comfort to the bride. At midnight, the bride cried thanks and invited her friends to eat. After each song, the chef will serve a dish on the banquet table. Dear women learn hundreds of wedding songs from a young age. To cry better, they practice singing while grazing cattle in the meadows and walking by streams. The cries and songs, mixed with the sounds of birds echoing through the mountains and forests, have become a unique feature in the cultural life of the Chuja people. If you are a sentimental person and quick to cry, moving to live with Tujia people may be an interesting choice. Teeth grinding. While most of us file our nails, men and women in Bali, Indonesia file their teeth before preparing for marriage. This ritual, known to the people as potong gigi, can be found in the Kalapati manuscript. In short, it says that there are 6 teeth in the upper jaw that are ground using jeri, which are 2 canines and 4 incisors. It symbolizes self-awareness to control the 6 enemies of the human soul, which are desire, greed, anger, intoxication, inflammation, and jealousy. Smooth teeth are a symbol of restraining wrong and negative emotions such as jealousy, anger, desire, and greed. This practice marks the transition to adulthood and is an exhausting and painful experience. If someone does not perform this tooth-cutting ritual, the soul will be punished by Bitara Yama Dipati. Conducting this ritual is the parent's permission for the child, from which the child can become a real person, called Dharmaning Dharmarena Rengi Ring Putra in Indonesia. Smash dishes. If you intend to sell dishes, go to Germany, where people buy your dishes just to destroy them. You heard right, they buy dishes to break them during the wedding. This practice is called Polterabend, or a traditional German practice. Before the wedding, friends and relatives of the bride and groom are invited to attend Polterabend. The rule when attending Polterabend is that each person will bring household items such as bowls, cups, plates made from ceramic, porcelain, except for glass items brought to the wedding. However, the above-mentioned items are not given as gifts to the newlywed couple, but the ceramic items will be thrown to the ground by the guests to break into pieces. At this time, the bride and groom will be the ones who have to clean up the debris. The German custom of breaking wedding gifts means saying goodbye to the old life and starting a new life after marriage. There is also an opinion that it is a preventative action in the future, meaning that when a war occurs between the two, the couple does not need to break any more dishes. The origin of this strange custom is unknown when and in what area, but it is generally believed that the sounds made by broken dishes represent future conflicts between husband and wife, the difficulties they face in married life. Bride and groom's ritual of cleaning up broken items is to help them prepare to face difficulties and wish them a happy life. Although the Polterabend custom is only a small part of the wedding, it plays a quite important and indispensable role in a traditional wedding of a culturally rich country like Germany. Number 6. Spoiling the wedding night. The Charivari rituals are known as chivalry in French, means noisy noises. True to its name, this is probably an extremely uncomfortable ritual for newlyweds. On the wedding night, friends as well as relatives of the bride and groom will gather outside the wedding room to sing, dance. They make all kinds of noise and use all kinds of methods to disrupt the couple. The main purpose of Charivari is usually to jokingly mock or tease the newlyweds, but can also be seen as a way to express blessings and joy to them. However, sometimes it can become too annoying or offensive if not done with respect and limits. In some regions, this ritual has become a fun tradition. However, in many others, it's become unwelcome and can cause inconvenience to the newlyweds. Unrest your wife. Saying goodbye to France with a rather funny custom. We will come to the country of Kyrgyzstan, where getting married becomes an obsession for women. The reason is because in this Central Asian country, forced marriage is not simply forced between two families, but the woman is also robbed by strangers to become a wife. Bride stealing is one of the German customs, when several friends of the groom lure the bride to the nearest pub and wait until the groom appears, and then pay for the drinks. However, it has also been present in Kyrgyzstan for hundreds of years. However, in Kyrgyzstan, bride stealing has degenerated into a form of kidnapping and rape rather than a wedding ritual. The latest research published in the international scientific journal Demography shows that about 20% of women in Kyrgyzstan are kidnapped, raped, and forced into marriage. In fact, every year about 15,000 women are kidnapped and forced into marriage. In some regions, this custom is accepted by everyone and considered a tradition. However, in the capital Bishkek, there exists the ideology of democracy and the desire to integrate with popular Western practices and customs. So the National Assembly passed a new law strongly criticizing the practice of bride kidnapping. For any victim over the age of 17, the kidnapper will be jailed for up to 7 years, and the prison term will be 10 years. Years if the victim is less than 17 years old. Up to now, kidnappers often avoid all legal troubles by simply filing documents because although the custom of bride kidnapping is considered traditional with the provisions of the old law, this action is still illegal. However, after the collapse of the former Soviet Union, the number of kidnapped women was still very large, exceeding the ability of law enforcement. To protect themselves, some women lied that they were no longer virgins, so maybe the groom would spare her. However, for the rest of their lives, they will be rejected, and no guy will pay attention to them anymore. The girl became the subject of slander at work, and her family was angry because she lied. It is not surprising that Kyrgyzstan is still a poor country with an average income per capita of $870. Although the Kyrgyz government has taken many measures to eliminate the ancient custom of bride stealing, it seems that all efforts are ineffective. Number 4. Wear rings on the toes impels. It is truly a big omission in this list if we do not mention the strange rituals at weddings in India. And of course, not to disappoint us, Indians have created a custom that goes against the rest of the world, which is wearing rings on the feet. Many people wonder about the Indian custom of wearing rings on their feet, such as, why do women have to wear it? Or the reason why women like to wear it on their bodies. The first and most well-known reason is that when an Indian woman wears this ring on her foot, it means that she is married. According to Indian tradition, the ring is most worn on the second toe next to the first toe. This is the longest of all 5 toes and is also the easiest to wear a ring on. It is known that the ring is usually worn on the bride's left foot. In India, these toe rings serve the same role as wedding rings in the West, but the groom does not need to wear them. It can be said that these rings are a unique cultural feature that only exists in India. Foot rings are popular everywhere in India and are indispensable fashion jewelry and have won the special attention of Indian women. These rings are called bichya, made by Indians very elaborately, meticulously, and beautifully. Hit the groom with a fish. We will take a flight to Korea, a very developed country but still retains many interesting traditional customs. Their special wedding ceremony is one of the oldest existing ceremonies in the land of kimchi. Any bridegroom hopes their wedding will end in peace and happiness. However, in Korea, the groom must perform one more final ritual, which is being beaten on the leg before marrying the bride. Traditional Korean wedding ceremony downright is usually held at the bride's house. According to Korean custom, after the ceremony ends, the bride's brother and friends will suddenly lift the groom up, then quickly remove his shoes and socks. They tie a string, possibly a tie, around the groom's ankles. One by one, the bride's parents, siblings, and relatives gathered, accusing the groom of doing something wrong to the bride's family. They will take off the groom's socks, pull his feet up, hold his feet tightly, and hit the soles of his feet many times with a dried fish or a stick. The purpose of this custom is to test the groom's health, stamina, as well as his understanding and behavior, because during the beating, the groom must not complain of pain and must continuously answer questions from the bride's family. This humorous custom is intended to create conditions for the groom to have the opportunity to greet and get to know everyone in the bride's family more intimately. During the time the foot was beaten, both the groom's family and the bride's family stood around, laughing and clapping, creating a fun atmosphere at the wedding. It's all a joke, although the groom will probably get hurt. No laughing allowed. Happiness and smiles are always present at couples' weddings, but in some parts of the world, laughter is taboo at weddings. Therefore, the bride and groom appeared at the event with pensive, even sad, and even angry faces. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the second largest country in Africa and the 11th largest in the world, the people of this country have some strict rules when organizing weddings, such as the bride and groom not being allowed to laugh before, during, and after the wedding. In Congo, couples are forbidden to smile, even during the pre-wedding photo session and throughout the main wedding day. The reason is that in Congolese culture, people believe that marriage is a serious matter and require couples to take this seriously. If a couple smiles at any point during their wedding, they will be seen as not taking the importance of marriage seriously. In some cases, the couple may not even be allowed to marry. Izon tribe in the Niger Delta region of southern Nigeria, also famous for the no-laughing ritual at weddings and funerals. Unlike in Congo, Izon couples are not necessarily forbidden from smiling on their wedding day. Instead, the bride will frown for a short time until the groom and his in-laws do something that makes the bride laugh. And the only way to achieve that is to hand over tons of cash to the bride to impress. At that moment, the bride will smile to show approval. Worth mentioning, the groom's family must pay a dowry to the bride, and this amount will increase if the bride does not live in the same village as the groom. Whatever the reason for the ban on smiling at weddings, marriage is still an extremely important cultural aspect for both the Izon and the Congolese people. Today, thanks to the speed of modernization, many people in Izon and Congo have been able to eliminate the ritual of not smiling on their wedding day to freely express joy and happiness on their big day with their guests. Number 1. And spread rice. To prepare for the wedding, couples in Germany put in a lot of effort, but during the wedding, they also have to spend extra effort on an unusual activity: sawing wood. If sawing wood symbolizes the first obstacle that each couple must overcome in marriage, then spreading rice is seen as a wish for many children and grandchildren to the bride and groom. After finishing the wedding ceremony at the church and stepping out, the couple will have rice sprinkled on them by wedding guests. According to legend, each grain of rice left in the bride's hair represents a child. In front of the church is a log placed on a saw rack. Logs are usually medium-sized and dry, so they're easier to cut. If it is a gift from a family member, it is even more meaningful. The saw is a type with 2 handles, long and sharp. The fact that the bride and groom saw a log together shows how they harmonize and agree together to face difficulties in their future lives. Once the wood has been sawed in half and the rice has been scattered, they newlyweds will travel to the wedding celebration in a car or carriage decorated with flowers. All the unique wedding ceremonies in the world provide insight into the cultural diversity and uniqueness of each country. Hopefully, through this video, you have had the opportunity to explore and immerse yourself in these interesting traditions. Thank you for taking the time to explore with us. See you on your next cultural adventures.